Hey everybody, welcome to day two, intentional training for firefighters. My name is Ryan Provencher. I'm a recently retired battalion chief, founder of Firefighter Peak Performance, and executive fitness advisor for Crackle Magazine. When I think about intentional training for firefighters, I think about the book that Dave Dodson wrote called Fire Department Incident Safety Officer. And in that book, he talks about differentiating between arbitrary aggressiveness and intellectual aggressiveness. And arbitrary meaning on a whim, without a plan, no predictable outcome, versus intellectual approach where you do your size up, you come up with a very specific plan, and you have a more predictable outcome based on that. So in my mind, the firefighter approach to physical fitness is really no different. Natalie, what stands out to you in the area of intentional fitness for firefighters?
Well, first let me introduce myself. My name is Natalie Knacker. I'm a captain at Orange County Fire and also fitness and nutrition coach for firefighters. So when I think about intentional, I look at the seasons of the firefighter and how we can be intentional in each of those seasons. So I look at when you're a candidate or a recruit and how you need to build capacity in just some of those basic strength components as well as the movement. Then when you're on probation, you need to think about performance and then recovery because there's a lot of expectations during that time of your career. And then let's say the middle of the career, that season, you're just sustaining and adapting to other, positions or the demands of the job as they change. Like as I know over the last 20 years, they've changed for me. And then as you start to get towards the tail end of your career, that those senior years, that's about maintaining function and mobility and really focusing on the longevity piece. And I'll even throw in there because I've been working with female firefighters, the pregnancy and postpartum part. That's a season of life too for us, and so we need to learn to adjust, align, and be consistent during those times. So, I mean, when I think of intention, Ryan, I really think about where you are in your career, what you need to focus on to be successful, and not only be successful, be high performing, and then longevity purposes.
Yeah, I love that you bring up the idea of seasons, and that makes me think of how an athlete might approach their annual training plan for their sports season, whether it's football, baseball, hockey. When you look at the periodized programming for an athlete, they have a general physical preparedness phase, a more specific or functional training phase, and then really what they call a sport-specific training phase. And I think that really applies to firefighters as well. We can also, over the course of a year or a season, however we want to look at it for ourselves, and depending on what season of our careers we're in, we might take a more general kind of basic approach to fitness, transition into a specific or more functional fitness, and then have a training period where we really are focusing on job specific tactical fitness.
Yeah, I think I've heard tactical athlete so many times throughout my career and working for the department I work in, we really focus a lot on that. And it definitely has lots of parallels to the professional athlete. I get asked a lot, like, how do we put this into practice? And really, I mean, this is what the safety stand down is for, is to give resources for everybody to show what's working, what has worked, what doesn't work. A lot of the things that I recommend to the firefighters or candidates or recruits I work with is to keep a journal and keep a log, is you can't see what you did last week or how you're improving or not improving if you don't keep track of it. Other times you need to hire a coach, like, or work with somebody or a pair fitness trainer, or again, there's tons of resources out there that can help with those specific intentional workouts based on where you're at. And again, the safety stand on, we've included a ton of resources for everybody on the website, underneath the intentional area, as well as in the general safety stand down area for resources. So check them out. If you have questions, reach out, ask some of the people that are highlighted in these videos, and we'd be happy to help. That's what I would think.
Yeah, no, that's great. This is an amazing resource, and I just really encourage firefighters to look at fitness the same way we look at our fire ground work on the fire ground. We have an incident action plan. We have a size up on the fire ground. In our fitness, we have a baseline assessment. We have strategy and tactics on that fire ground. We can apply strategy, fitness strategy, and tactics in terms of our daily workouts as we approach our fitness. And then tasks are obviously what we do in support of our tactics on the fire ground. We can look at exercises as tasks in our fitness programming. And then last but not least, we have our after action reports where we look at our lessons learned. In a progressive intentional training program, we can keep score. We can track our performance
Mhm.
in our workouts and look at that over a period of time to measure progress and track our performance. So lots of great information here.
Yeah.
Choose your own adventure. You can look at the education module, and then you can certainly go down the rabbit hole. There's going to be a lot of links that you can follow for tons more information.
Yeah. So excited to share with everybody.